Our second guest today is Barbara Corey, who is here to share with us about her experiences at Novant Health Brunswick Medical Center. Welcome to the show today, Barbara.
Thank you very much.
We're glad to have you here today to talk about your experience at Novant Health Brunswick Medical Center. But to start off, tell me a little bit about yourself. Do you live in Brunswick County?
Yes, I live in Supply, just about 5 minutes from Holden Beach. And I'm 64 and pretty much a lifelong surfer since I was 14 when I started.
Wow, that's great. Well, I understand that you were involved in a shark attack last summer.
Yes, I was.
Well, that sounds awful. I know you were surfing, but I don't know too much about what happened. Can you tell me what happened that day?
Sure. Well, actually, I was teaching a lesson to a 10-year-old girl and she was surfing. But we were standing in the water because the water was very rough and very murky that day, and I was holding the board because the current was really strong, and she was just too small to control the board on her own.
Yes.
And I was waiting for her to get back on the board to help her get into another wave, and next thing I knew, it was like being hit by a freight train with teeth, and a shark was clamped onto my foot.
Oh, that must have been so scary.
It was really scary, and all I could think of doing was I just looked at the little girl and I said, "Run, I've been bit by a shark."
Really? You had the sense to say that to her?
Oh, yeah, and I didn't want to tell her that the shark was still attached to my foot.
Oh, my goodness.
I just said, "Run, go to shore. I've been bit by a shark."
Was she able to then run, or did she have to use the board?
She was trying to make her way in. Like I said, the current was really strong, and so it was a little slow, and I yelled to the beach, and her brother started running out, and I was holding a surfboard and kicking with my other foot, trying to get the shark off, and he finally let go, and I jumped up on the board, and we were both pretty much going in at the same time, and then her brother ran out and finally got to her and picked her up, and I rode the board the rest of the way in on my belly, and then they picked me up and carried me to a blanket on the beach where I waited for the EMTs.
Yeah. Once you were out of the water, then what happened next?
Well, I told them, I was telling the people on the beach really what to do because they were trying to put a tourniquet on my leg, which was all wrong. And I'm like, no, ice and a towel and pressure. That's all I need. And finally, 2 people emerged from the crowd, and one was a nurse practitioner and the other one was a nurse. And they're like, "Yes, do what she says. Take that tourniquet off you're trying to put on her, and a towel and ice." And then they, stopped the bleeding pretty much, or put pressure on it and held my foot up. I was laying down so I didn't get real shocky, and I was pretty much coherent the entire time and just talking with people. And
well, obviously you were, because you remember all the fine details of this, and I have goosebumps right now. I was like, oh no.
It was pretty scary. It's the scariest thing ever happened to me in my lifetime,
So the EMS came and picked you up, and they took you where?
They took me to Novant Hospital, Brunswick Novant Hospital.
So they took you to Novant Health Brunswick Medical Center, and tell me about that experience. What happened when you got there?
When I got there, everybody already knew they were bringing in,
of course,
somebody bit
by
a shark bite. And so, not only did I have Dr. Hannah and my nurse, Richard.
Oh, he's great. Yeah.
Richard's wonderful. They're both sweet. But I think everybody that was on staff that day came in to see me and talk to me. People were peeking around the corner, and the guys that surf in the hospital, they were all in to talk to me, because I knew Jessie, I knew little Jessie, and so they were all in to talk to me, and and I just waited. I had to wait a long time for surgery because.
Did you have surgery on your foot then?
Oh yes, definitely, and because Dr. Layton was already in surgery. He was the surgeon on call that day.
So you had surgery by Dr. Layton very soon then,
day. Well, that day, yes. Yeah. It wasn't very soon. I had to wait till he was done,
Well, yeah, you had to wait your turn, right?
I had to wait my turn, yeah. So I was in ER.
Well, I'm sure there was a lot of prep they had to do for you, though, first before the surgery. I'm sure you were getting antibiotics and all sorts of things.
Yeah, they put me on antibiotics and some pain medicine
Sure.
that Dr. Layton prescribed. They had
Sure.
to, they sent him the pictures
Right.
while he was in surgery, so they didn't
Wow.
want to do anything without his permission.
Right.
So-
How long were you in the hospital?
I wasn't in the hospital very long. Thursday night, Friday, and then I was out Saturday afternoon. So,
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you have physical therapy?
Eventually I did, yes.
But first, did you have to let the wound heal and all
Yes,
that?
I was actually in bed for 6 weeks. I wasn't allowed to put any weight
weight on it?
at all on it because it was so tentatively put back together. And then I had another 4 weeks in a walking cast, and then they finally let me do physical therapy.
Had you ever had a brush with a shark before?
Yes,
Really?
but you know,
You had not been bitten, but
I'd
you
not
had
been
been
bitten,
in
but
the
yeah,
area.
but I had
Had
other
you ever felt
encounters.
them go past you? And
yes, one time I did. Where I got bumped by a shark, but those sharks were like non-aggressive type sharks, where you know they feel that because of how aggressive the shark that was on me was a bull shark, and from measuring the bite mark on my foot, they're estimating between 5 and 6 feet, so it was a healthy shark.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, I've had other encounters and seen fins go by, but you know, I've just paddle very quietly, you know, in.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to thrash around, you know, when you see
That's
one.
and that's what you do naturally. You know, you
Naturally,
get scared.
you're
and
scared.
you're
Oh no,
like,
you
"Get me
want
out of here."
to be as quiet as possible and not attract him to you by splashing. Because if you splash, they feel like that's an injured fish
Really?
in the water, and so they're
They're
more
gonna eat it?
likely to come and investigate if somebody is splashing.
Interesting. Well, I'm curious. Have you been back in the water?
Yes, I have. I'm still not allowed to surf because I've had back surgery in between all of this. But I can lay down and paddle my board now, and so I have been back in. And I'm just waiting to be able to surf again. So.
I see you have your aubergine cup with you today.
Yes, I do. The infamous cup.
The infamous cup. I know you were on a couple of TV shows, the local news, and you were on Good Morning America.
Good Morning America.
Good Morning America. And I know you speak very highly of Novant Health, Brunswick Medical Center.
Yes, I do.
And
And the cup was the least I could do was give them a little PR as I was doing my interviews, waving my cup around.
well, I'm glad that you had a wonderful experience at the hospital.
I had a great experience at the hospital. They treated me like royalty, you know. I guess
That's great. That's great to hear.
Of course,
Well,
I was like their star, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? I
really.
don't think they've ever had anything like that interesting happen to them.
Well, as I said, I'm glad you had a wonderful experience. However, I'm sad and for you that you had such an experience in the water because I know how you love the water.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm sure that you'll be back in surfing before long.
Oh, yes, you know, I will. And for anybody that goes out in the water, you know, take the bling off. All that,
Take the bling off?
Take the bling
Okay.
off. All that bling.
That attracts sharks?
When you're in the water, that sparkles and it makes the fish, even you know bluefish, whatever, make them think that it's bait fish sparkling in the
okay.
water.
Good for me to know because I've always got the bling on,
So
so
you-
I have
so,
to be
yeah,
really
so you-
careful when I go to the beach. And actually, I go to Holden Beach, so I'll have to be really careful.
So take the bling off,
Okay.
and you know, and usually the worst time to go out in the water is like really early in the morning,
Okay.
or very late in the evening, because once it's dusk or dawn, that's really when the sharks really tend to feed a lot more. You know, even though
Yeah.
you'll see some during the daytime, but
Well, great to know. Great tips for
Some
our
tips,
viewers.
yeah.
So thank you again for being here so much. Thank you
you're
for
so
sharing your
welcome.
story with us. It was very interesting. and you look so great. I'm so happy that you're
well,
in
thank
your
you.
recovery, and I wish you the best.
well, thank you very much.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.